Hello, yeah, wrongin'. Well, another Banty Rolex for today. In a moment, we're going to talk about the good old days. What would they be, Adrian? Oh, I think you might be interested. Friday afternoon news bingo. What are they going to bury this afternoon? And Catherine, Princess of Wales. Another new update. But first, the story that's on everybody's lips. Baby Reindeer. Now, along with 520 odd thousand other people, I watched one of the best TV moments of 2024. Now, I don't know whether you've watched Baby Reindeer or you're aware of Baby Reindeer or you have any knowledge of Baby Reindeer, but it was an original story based on a real-life experience of Richard Gadd, who wrote, directed it, starred in it, mopped the floor, made the tea, bought the biscuits. Literally, it was his Edinburgh Fringe Festival show that's been brought to Netflix. Now, Richard Gadd and Jessica Gunning, who plays Martha in Baby Reindeer, are simply awesome. And as far as I'm concerned, just give all the awards to Jessica Gunning. It's the best performance of the year. And I don't know how she's managed to do it, but she's got Martha, Fiona Harvey, to a T. Now, how would she get her accent? And it sounds a bit, for someone who lived in Scotland for over 10 years, lived and worked in Scotland, lived in sort of Edinburgh and the surrounding areas, knew Fife quite a bit and the central belt. She sounds very very west coast. Not Weege, but she says she is central belt, but that could be completely from east to west. But just the other day, I was in the Hawley Arms, which Fiona Harvey mentioned in the interview last night with Piers Morgan. It's in Camden, and it's the original pub that seemingly Martha, the character in Baby Reindeer, met Richard Gadd, or Donnie, the character, in. I have to say, she said that she went in there for a meal, and I can personally testify that the burgers in the Hawley Arms are very, very filling. It's one of those pubs where I went in to kind of, because I quite enjoyed Baby Reindeer, went in, had a look around. Oh my word, it's the Hawley Arms. But it's also the pub that Amy Winehouse frequented with Blake upstairs in the pool room. And there's bits and pieces on the wall which confirm that Amy Winehouse was there with Blake, her husband. But question, and this wasn't answered in the interview with Piers Morgan. Did she eventually get her curtains hanged or not? So Piers Morgan has said that Fiona Harvey, which she said her name was double barreled, but now just uses Fiona and Harvey. Piers Morgan says she was intelligent, quick-witted and combative, and I can agree with that, having watched the interview. I know someone else that had multiple email addresses and Twitter profiles, and they got done for stalking and harassment. But Martha and or Fiona Harvey, they're alleging 41,000 emails, 744 tweets, 48 Facebook messages, 106 letters, and most importantly, 350 hours of phone messages. And I think that probably helped Jessica Gunning get the character so well. And the fact that she gets Martha's accent, very similar to Fiona Harvey. But Jessica Gunning is just amazing in this. She's a tour de force. I'll just give her all the awards. Nobody's ever going to come anywhere near this as an actress, or a best actress for that matter. And I sat mouth agape when Fiona stated she had a photographic memory. It's there in the interview. I have a photographic memory. And then she couldn't remember her degree results. She said, I've done 2 degrees, one a law degree, and she couldn't remember much else about them. Now, if you've been to university, or anybody that has been to university and studied for 3 or 4 years, in my view, knows exactly what they got from university. 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, first. That simple. And she can't remember. Oh yeah, it was very good results, very good results. Well, cough then and tell us you've got a photographic memory. The only other person that I ever remember having a photographic memory was Bob Monkhouse, and he was genius. So whatever Fiona Harvey came out of university with, there's no ambiguity, but she couldn't remember. She says, oh, I only met Richard Gadd 3 times, and then that changed to 5 or 6 by the end of the interview. And one of those times was when she thought she may have gone to one of his shows. Well, in Baby Reindeer, Martha is there in the audience, having a go, heckling and singing. So throughout the other 2 or 4 or 5 meetings, Donny, Richard Gadd, has managed to secretly record enough of their conversations that he was able to send himself over 300 voicemail messages or 350 hours of phone messages. I mean, it's scary how the actress playing Martha got all of Fiona's mannerisms spot on. How on earth would she do that if there wasn't some corroborative evidence that they could use to help? Now, I wonder if Piers Morgan or any of his staff will get banter emails, as Fiona calls them, or end up being and getting unwanted attention. Now, Fiona Harvey has said she hasn't watched Baby Reindeer, but if she hasn't watched it, how does she know the whole plot? Psychic? So how did Jessica Gunning know what Fiona Harvey was like? I mean, she's evidently studied whatever evidence Richard Gadd could pass on for her to be so clever in her acting and believable in her acting, but also sounding and appearing so much like Fiona Harvey. It's unnatural, obviously. Now, Fiona Harvey, and I quote, says, I'm 58, a year younger than you. So knowing Piers Morgan's age tells you everything you need to know about her personality traits, in my view. And I'm surprised Fiona Harvey didn't say, oh, it couldn't have been me. I don't sweat. I was at Walking Pizza Express at the time. Now, Fiona has confirmed that she didn't go to prison. But if Piers had dug a little deeper, and I do believe that Piers was very gentle with Fiona last night. At the beginning, he was combative and he was pushing her. He was getting pushed back. So he sort of backed off during the interview because it could have seemed very churlish and very aggressive of him if he kept on the tack that he was on at the beginning of the interview. But as the interview went on, he was more and more gentle with her. Maybe he saw for himself what maybe Richard Gadd had used as the inspiration for Baby Reindeer. But if he dug a little deeper, we could have found out if Fiona had had any psychiatric care or psychiatric help. And the way that the mainstream press are getting onto it today, I absolutely guarantee you that the mainstream press won't leave this alone because they know that there is an audience for Baby Reindeer. And the audience for Baby Reindeer wants to know more. And this interview with Piers Morgan is just going to fan those flames. And everybody wants more. So the press will find out. And she knows that. Well, she's a trained lawyer, obviously. So Fiona Harvey's fixed beliefs and delusions are, in my view, clear signs of severe mental health issues. And anyone that's worked in that field would, I'm sure, concur. She would, as she said in the interview, definitely, quote, take a lie detector test. Probably, quote. One of my final thoughts, Fiona Harvey thinking it's normal to have 6 email addresses and 4 phones for different people is normal? I mean, where I live, people that flog recreational gear only have 2 phones and they're dodgy. And in the Daily Mail today, the hand-wringing is saying, oh, the interview started at 8:30 p.m. That's how you can tell journalists haven't got the facts right. That's how you can tell journalists are just making it up as they go along. Because you and I, if you watched it, and I was one of the 529,000 people watching it live, it didn't start at 8:30, Daily Mail. It started at 8. So you need to have a word with your journalist who evidently can't get the fact right. You can tell that they just weren't there at 8 p.m. I'm not quite sure what they're making up or how they're doing it. But it didn't start at 8:30. That's a blatant lie, Daily Mail. it was a painful watch, but now the new normal is the social media circus. It's likes and clicks and clickbait. And do you know something? At the end of the interview, I thought, this is like a real life episode of Black Mirror. Remember some of those episodes where people were trying to put stuff up online just for clicks and stuff? And this was absolutely, categorically, like an episode of Black Mirror. But it's wild. It just adds to the baby reindeer story. It just adds that this is sort of a thirst. It's like a Roman circus. If the emperor was in any kind of doubt and the natives were getting restless, just send in the gladiators, Piers Morgan, and the Christians for slaughter, Fiona Harvey. Roman circus. Well, I never. But I'll guarantee you, that's not the end of it. By a long stretch. 22 million people have streamed Baby Reindeer worldwide. Oof, Netflix clapping their hands. Should we get to the good old days? Can you remember the good old days? So we'll leave Baby Reindeer to one side for the moment, because it will rear its ugly head again. And I've been to the Hawley Arms, so I can testify what it looks like. But let's get to the good old days. What am I talking about? I'm not talking about music hall. I'm not talking about 100 years ago. I'm talking about just a couple of years ago. Remember the good old days when you could get punched in the face by a police officer for not wearing a mask? Remember that? Can you remember celebrities calling you a granny killer when you refused to take the jibber jabber? Remember that? All the celebrities have ducked. They've disappeared. Piers Morgan being one of them. They're not talking about that anymore. Certainly after AstraZeneca pulled it, their jibber jabber, worldwide the other day. Now, we now know who it was that took the shot. How do we know that? The jibber jabber? Those that took the shot, whilst taking the shot, were telling me and you, take the shot, the jibber jabber, you're a granny killer, you're going to kill everybody off. And now, those people that took the jibber jabber are the ones dying off. Are you not watching the news? Can you remember when you were getting stuff shoved up your nose by people outside your car wearing a mask because it was contagious? It was like being flossed, sort of. And then, and here's the kicker, Professor Adam Flynn on Radio 4's Today programme, before I quote him, I will say that there are other kind of media doctors who got paid by AstraZeneca to tell you to take the shot. They got paid 22 grand to tell you to take the shot. And AstraZeneca have pulled the shot worldwide. So this doctor, I think that'll be his career done. In the media, certainly. That'll be done. Because everybody will say, Dr. Ranj, you said we should take the jibber jabber. And, AstraZeneca have pulled it worldwide because it's dangerous, according to AstraZeneca. But you took 22 grand to tell us to take it. So if it was dangerous, why were you telling us to take it? Oh dear! That's his media career gone. So Professor Adam Flynn, he was on Radio 4's Today programme, and he said, and I'm quoting directly, almost everyone in the population immune to SARS-CoV-2. So, yes, the need for this particular jibber jabber is evaporating. How much did he get paid? Because it's always follow the Benjamins, it's always follow the greenbacks, it's always follow the money. So these filth that were promulgating, you need to take the jibber jabber. You. Oh, by the way, 22 grand. Thanks very much. That'll do nicely for a new holiday. And yet people are dying. Doctors wouldn't pee on them if they were on fire. They're all at it. All of them. They have to have been, because for 4 years, well, okay, I'll qualify that. There were some doctors that were coming out originally saying, whoa, hang on a second, we're seeing things and we're not quite sure what this is. We're seeing plastics come out of bodies with things and stuff. And I've talked to a pathology doctor who, as soon as I started asking straight questions, disappeared off. Never saw her again for the rest of the day at someone's wedding. So what's happening now is they're changing the narrative. I'll give you Professor Adam Flynn's quote again. Almost everyone in the population immune to SARS-CoV-2. So, yes, the need for the vaccine is evaporating. So the narrative's changing. And why is it changing? Because they're going to get found out lying. AstraZeneca pulled their jibber jabber worldwide this week. So they've got to change the narrative. They've got to start saying something else, because the whole of the population is going to turn around and go, hang on a second, you said what 4 years ago? Oh, the good old days, where you could get slapped in the face for wearing a mask and be told to take a jibber jabber that's going to kill you. Any more than 2 jabs or 2 boosters, I hope you've got insurance. Which is just awful, horrible. Innocents are going to die. And I'm not making this up. Why would AstraZeneca pull their jibber jabber worldwide if it wasn't going to cause horrible things? Let's have a bit of lightness, I suppose, to round off this Banty llox. I wonder which bit of bad news they're going to bury today. Well, it's not the AstraZeneca, because that was sort of released a couple of days ago. So that'll disappear over the weekend. It's not a bank holiday weekend, so it's normally around about 5 or 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon where the real bad stuff is released, and then everybody forgets about it by Monday morning. So I wonder if we play Friday afternoon news bingo. Wonder what's going to be released today. Is it going to be the royals? I'll tell you about Catherine in a second. Is it going to be the immigrants? Well, whooping cough, TB. I have a theory. Why do you think all these things are starting up again in this country when everybody in this country was inoculated? Except a certain part of this country have not been inoculated. Who would that be, Adrian? The ones wearing the life jackets. We can talk about the jibber jabber. So there's 2 of the 4 that were used initially to try and combat something that you had a 99% survival rate for. Are we going to talk about the politicians? Might be 1 or 2. They might cross the floor because they know a general election's coming. They want the power. No. They don't want to do good stuff by your community, by your area. No. Don't be stupid. They just want power. And then, do we really have to talk about, there's a couple of people in Nigeria and they're trying to impersonate a royal tour. Oh, creepy. Honestly, they make me feel sick, those 2. And they do it with a smile on their face, as if they're entitled to it. Grifters gonna grift. And finally, Esther. Well, Prince William's been out and about in his blue shirt, rolled his sleeves up, and everybody's saying, where's Catherine? How's Catherine? And he's turned around and said, well, Catherine is doing well. Is that it? Catherine's doing well, considering the king thinks he's been trapped in a cage. He's been let out of his cage. I mean, what's Catherine going to go? Yeah, I was in the same cage as King Charles. They fed me 3 times a day. It was lovely. Bit boring. Couldn't see the kids. But yeah, it's not where's Wally. It's what's happened to Wally. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a few months yet. And they're going to try and make us feel guilty about asking questions. Oh, no, Catherine's doing well. Yes, I'll bring the kids down to Devon next year sometime. Where is she? What's going on? As I keep saying in most of my videos. But do you know any different? In the comments, please. You can comment about anything that we've put into this particular video, if you will, because I always look forward to them. And thank you for your likes, your subscriptions. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel because there will be more videos coming. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. I'm also on X at Adrian Allen. You'll easily find me because that's my real name. And whatever you do, don't forget the Battenberg.